unconstitutional gag order by a highly conflicted judge that should recuse himself. What's going on in this country now should have never happened. We have the worst president in the history of our country, and he's the one that has us in all these different lawsuits.
The courtroom's cold. It's the only way you make those tired, stormy tits presentable.
Jeez.
Firms the epidermis. She needs it. Loose skin. So we're day 3. And there were arguments about whether Trump violated the gag order, which is kind of silly because other people are not gagged and the media clearly is not gagged. I mean, if you want to act as though this is a sealed courtroom and you have no information, just tune into CNN for any minute at any point during the day. It's all they do. I wish I was obsessed with anything as much as they are obsessed with the Trump trial. So after the court was adjourned yesterday, President Trump stepped out and... Now, typically with a gag order, you wouldn't say anything.
Yes.
Hence the term gag.
But
he immediately bitched about the gag order effectively and just was throwing 7 different kinds of smoke immediately.
And by the way, this trial is all Biden. You know, this is all Biden, just in case anybody has any question. And they're keeping me in a courtroom that's freezing, by the way, in a courtroom all day
My nipples
long.
are hard.
Well, he's out campaigning. That's probably an advantage because he can't campaign. Nobody knows what he's doing. He can't put 2 sentences together. I have an unconstitutional gag order by a highly conflicted judge that should recuse himself. Very simple. On the schools should have never happened. What's going on in this country now should have never happened. But of course, the Ukraine war would have never happened. The Israeli attack would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. We have the worst president in the history of our country, and he's the one that has us in all these different lawsuits. Thank you very much.
Boy, I hate to see him when he's not gagged.
how do you think you're going to be able to make him not speak to the public?
Yeah.
Like if he does anything in his life, it is rage tweet.
Right, exactly.
That's the only thing.
And by the way, it's kind of brilliant. Every time he appears in front of a camera, turn it into a campaign stop effectively because they're trying to hamstring him, make lemonade out of lemons at that point. These are all valid points.
Just leans into it. I love it. He just like takes it head on because it's like, hey, don't talk about the judge. You mean that corrupt judge?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that not the purpose of the gag order? Is to knowingly that he's gonna, violate it and then put him away for some bullshit charge?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that kind of like the point?
Exactly. They want him to go into court with trumped-up charges.
Yeah.
They want him to go in, have to deal with it while the media speculates, all this press, and he says nothing. And there's kind of 2 approaches here. You either have to keep your head down because you know you've got it's a deadlock. The win, then kind of go through the process, and then take a victory lap when you win. Or if you know that it's a lost cause, you just right from the get-go, you don't follow the orders as far as gag orders, you defend yourself, and at a certain point it becomes white noise. What they're hoping happens is, Stormy Daniels will take the stand, a bunch of people will take the stand, they'll have some embarrassing personal information, and everyone will fling mud. They hope it damages Donald Trump. But the truth is, at that point, it's just all going to be a circus, and people will be exhausted with it. Donald Trump he's using the play of exhaustion. The media wants to exhaust you over this? All right, fine, he will too. By the time they get to their star witnesses, you don't care. Why? Because inflation. You don't care. Why? Because 7.5 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border, or at least that we know of in this last year. You don't care anymore. Why? Because you probably have to work 2 or 3 jobs. You don't care anymore. Why? Because we're involved in more foreign conflict than we were really at any point during President Trump's history, at any point that I can think of, going back to, 2007? That's why you don't care at that point. You don't care what some washed up, tired ex-porn star has to say about taxes.
Well, that washed up. Those titties floated her up.
Oh, geez.
Well, the courtroom's cold. They're planning ahead.
I love how he said that in the courtroom. And by the way, it's cold.
The courtroom's cold. It's the only way you make those tired, stormy tits presentable.
Jeez.
Firms the epidermis. She needs it. Loose skin. In other news, Steven Seagal's Wanda Punani is now officially 20 years old. He went through the process of recording that entire song and releasing it.
Yes.
Wait, I thought he was Russian or Japanese or Native American
or black.
Or black
yeah.
at one point.
All of those.
Oh, wow.
Look, I'm part Russian and I'm part black because I used to play the blues out on the porch in Detroit. And I think that I need to do a song about how I like vaginas. It doesn't get talked about enough.
With a Jamaican accent.
They used to call me Stephen the Stoop.
Yes.
I would sit on the stoop with my boys.
Yeah. And then I would play the blues, and then I'd talk about how much I love the punani. Bad things happen. We know.
Yes.
We know.
It's not a shocker.
So immediately after the judge ended that hearing, Donald Trump took to Truth Social as well. I just,
the
look, I
voice.
have to
I
read
need it.
Okay, all right. He goes, highly conflicted, to put it mildly.
All caps, by the way.
Judge Juan Merchan has taken away my constitutional right to free speech. Everyone is allowed to talk and lie about me, but I am not allowed to defend myself. Not allowed. This is a kangaroo court, and the judge should recuse himself. I don't know how that gag order is working out.
Well, this is exactly the problem. The judge brought him in on the gag order issue because of him going to social media and putting up posts like that. So the very first thing he does, I guarantee you, he had this written beforehand, and as soon as it went boom, gavel down, he's like, boop,
Yes.
send.
Right.
Just put it right out. Like, what are you going to do, judge?
I've got to imagine that his lawyers, they have to put makeup on the
Oh, man.
bruises on their foreheads because, like, okay, the key is right now, just lay low, don't say anything. He's like a child who just has to rebel and And by the way, I love this about him.
Yeah.
Like, don't say anything, don't get yourself into hot water, right? Which would typically mean don't talk about Stormy Daniels, don't talk about the finances. And not only does he do all of that, he makes it all the way down the list to the temperature. It's like, don't say anything. All right, I won't say anything about this being a kangaroo court. Corrupt. You're an awful judge. She's a whore. And it's cold in here. And the lawyer's just going,
Exactly.
fine.
He just didn't.
Well, I mean,
every once-
at least at that point, you can't refute one thing. At
No,
least.
you can't.
There's truth in there because everyone else, like, yeah, it was pretty cold in there.
Yes, it was pretty cold.
That's right. Cutting
The
glass.
coffee was ruined within 5 minutes.
Yep. You know what? He has a point. He has a point. You may not like his tone, but what he's saying is correct. Hit the like button if you think they should make that climate in the courtroom a little more comfortable for the President of the
I
United
think
States.
that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Befitting his, title.
I'm a 68 to 71 guy in the House. That's
Are
what
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good range.
Yeah.
Depending on the thermostat. Let's go to India. That place is hot. So,
Oh yeah. Make
We've-
me so hot.
Oh, jeez. Watch Louder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.